Go.
Hello, my name is Dan and I'm a student of ESC English School here in Boston. And I'm very happy to have with me Chris, who is our intern of the month. I'm very happy to have you here again.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's just start with the questions I prepared for you.
Sure.
Yeah. Tell us something about you. So where you're coming from and.
Well, I was born in Rhode Island. I was raised there, and I go to school in Bennington College in Vermont, and I study education. And this is actually my third time living in Boston. I actually lived in Allston this past summer. I lived in Lower Allston my sophomore year for an internship I had, and then there's one more time I was living in Boston in a different area. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Very cool. So pretty familiar with the city.
I am. I love Boston. It's a great city.
I love it too.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
What about your education? You know, where you went to the high school and.
Well, I went to a school called the Prout School in Rhode Island, and that was a Catholic school.
Mm-hmm.
So there were uniforms and everything.
Okay.
It was quite strict. And then I went to Bennington College, which is complete opposite. It's much more loose. There are no majors. We have things called plans in which we can kind of construct our own idea of what we want to study.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually say to people my major is education, but it has a focus of digital media, anthropology, and sociolinguistics. So it's a bunch of other fields and disciplines combined.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool. Sounds great. What was something that got hooked you into that field?
Of education?
Yes.
I took a course called Discourse in Compassion, and I had to do research in a first grade classroom to understand through discourse analysis what compassion is within the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really just sort of like this intro into the world of education. I realized that, classroom settings are sort of these, I don't know if I should say battlegrounds, but it's where it's not just the four rooms of the classroom, but there's a lot of political confrontation, social and cultural confrontation within classrooms, and that's what really interested me.
Okay, very good, very good. What was some obstacles along the way?
In my education?
Yes.
Freshman year was a tough one for me, because you have to get acclimated to a whole different environment, a whole different group of people socially, and also just rigorous academics, which is much different from high school. So it took me a long journey to finally get comfortable at college, to make new friends, and to find a field of education that I really enjoyed and just go for it, have that drive to study and succeed.
Do you think that it's hard to make to find a good friend in such a city as Boston is?
In Boston?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's a little more difficult. I have a bunch of friends from high school that live in Boston, so that's the group that I always hang out with when I come here, but I think it would be quite difficult to make friends if I came here and didn't know anyone at all.
Yeah.
Go.
So tell us something about, can you please explain us what internships actually means? Because I didn't know, I know now, but just for other students.
Mm-hmm. Well, internships in the general sense is just a temporary job to gain more exposure in a field that you're interested in. In terms of Bennington College, we have a program called Fieldwork Term. So from January to February, the students leave campus and go find internships all over the world and all over different fields that they're interested in, and then they come back for spring to finish that term. And so I've done 3 fieldwork terms since I've been at Bennington. One was at the Rhode Island Film and TV office in Providence, Rhode Island. And then another one was at Blackstone Elementary School, which is in Boston. I was a first grade assistant teacher. And then last year I went to Mexico with a class that was sort of this follow-up to a course on the U.S.-Mexico border. And now I'm here at ASC.
Cool, very cool. How have you find out about the ASC?
Well, I was living here over the summer, and I lived in Brighton, so I would always take the Green Line outbound, and I would always just pass ASC. And I'm really interested in second language acquisition, ESL, and education, obviously. So it just seemed like, why not take that opportunity to walk in here and see what you guys could offer, and maybe I could give something back. And that's how I found out about it. I did a little research, obviously, but I met Gretchen, and she was wonderful and said, I'd like to have you as an intern from January to February, and it worked out.
Because as a matter of fact, that's actually happened to me as well. I was just walking down the street and I saw the sign and I walked in and I just loved the attitude.
Yeah, they have good advertising.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So, what are your some of expectations in the future? Where do you see yourself after 10 years?
For myself?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a pretty heavy question. Well, actually, just yesterday I applied for Teach for America. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's where they send, young teachers all across America to low-income areas to teach and just sort of help out. So hopefully I'll be doing that by September, and then I'd like to teach abroad eventually. That's part of why I want to come to ASC, is to practice what it's like to teach English. So I'd love to go someplace in Asia like South Korea or Japan or China. But those are sort of in short terms. I mean, long term, I'd like to go to grad school. I'd like to have some type of job in education, but no matter what, I want to be teaching. I want to be in the field of education, because I think education is a very powerful tool. It's a catalyst for transformation, both in individuals and through, social and cultural and political ways as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with. Well, I guess that we are all done. Thank you for.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So that's all for now, and we are expected to do some more in a time.
In the future.
In the future.
Yeah.